Hello guys, and massive demilitarization of Russia continues, same as explosions continue in Moscow, the capital of Russia, for the second day in a row. Military targets exploded in dozens of the Russian regions, so I literally had to make a list in Kursk, Belgorod, Kaluga, Ryazan, Tula, Samara, Saratov, Rostov, Bryansk, and many more. And all of these in the European part of the Russian Federation, which was previously considered the most vulnerable to the visits of the Ukrainian drones. But today we have opened the gates to Asia. This is exactly how Russians describe Astrakhan, which lies on the border between Europe and Asia. There, Ukrainian drones targeted a gas production plant, which had to suspend the production of gas for months ahead. And all while the fuel crisis is only growing inside Russia, same as queues for any kind of fuel that is no more available in, once again, dozens of the Russian regions that are a war zone. And important updates from Krasnodar, where at the end of August, Ukrainian drones managed to destroy a number of Iskander missile systems. This was confirmed by satellite images, and this means a lot of innocent lives saved. So let's talk about this massive and very important demilitarization of the Russian Federation while others talk. On UN meeting that did not make me feel that confident as the work of the Ukrainian armed forces. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and if you want to see the defeat and demilitarization of Russia that has already started, subscribe and please share these videos to spread the truth and help others protect themselves against the lies of the Kremlin. And today we celebrate 350,000 friends around the world. When I started this channel, I could never imagine we will have such a strong, such a friendly, beautiful community that achieved a lot. And I believed the war would end in a week or two, but look at us now. And I'm reporting not just about explosions and destructions in Ukraine. Unfortunately, they continue, but I'm also talking about war in Russia. War is confidently returning back home to the Russian Federation where it belongs, and I'm sure it will end there, together with the ending of Putin's regime. For the second day in a row, Ukrainian drones kept visiting Moscow, the capital of the Russian Federation. It is no more a surprise when Ukrainian drones land on military targets in St. Petersburg, Moscow, which before the beginning of the full-scale invasion were totally safe cities, and look at us now. That's because Putin and his population wanted war, cheered for war, and now are surprised to receive war back home. Ukrainian drones paralyzed the work of Russian airports in dozens of cities. It's not just about Moscow, but in Moscow, the most important people from the Kremlin's perspective are living and trying to travel, and all of them had to spend long nights filming videos from Sheremétievo demonstrating their dissatisfaction, but also proving the kind and wise approach of the Ukrainian armed forces. We only target legitimate facilities, military facilities, or we simply paralyze the work of the Russian transport system, but their people do not suffer the way they suffer after Russian attacks. You can compare dissatisfied Russians who cannot travel to Turkey or some other places, they still can, and what they do to Ukraine during nightly attacks on our apartment buildings with sleeping children in them. But this is a slap on the face of the Putin's regime. I'm sure that more and more of his comrades, more and more of his mafioso friends, his oligarch partners realize that Putin does not have control over Russian airspace, over Russian borders, and over Russian economy, because oil refining industry keeps burning and disappearing. And in Russia, I don't have many hopes for people to protest, to change something, but I do have by experience proves that in Soviet history, in Russian history, coups can decide a lot, and when oligarchs are dissatisfied, they can actually change something. It's not going to be the superb solution, but still, let me know what do you think about that in comments. Do you think people in Putin's circle are dissatisfied with his results right now? And subscribe and share. Please join our friendly community and protect yourself against all these dirty tricks of the Kremlin. So in Moscow, they had to close Sheremétievo. Perhaps they don't have internet also. That's a new Russian tradition, not just to protect them from drones, but also to prevent them from sharing these videos and demonstrating the truth that Russia does not control its airspace. Russia is a no-fly zone. Russia is under constant attacks of Ukrainian drones. Also, it was loud in Kursk, in Belgorod, war zones, in Kaluga, Ryazan, Tula, in Bryansk, in Rostov, in Samara and Saratov. And many evil military targets were destroyed with inexpensive Ukrainian drones. And you know that we are also developing our missiles, cruise missiles, Flamingos and Neptunes, often visiting temporarily occupied territories, for example, of Crimea. And today, another important target was destroyed in Astrakhan. Astrakhan is considered the gates of Asia because it's on River Volga and it's on the shores of the Sea of Caspian. And there they have a very important gas producing plant, and it was damaged by the debris of the unknown drones, as Russian authorities say. I don't mind whatever they describe it, but the results are important. It stopped working for the next months. What is interesting, it only returned back to work, resumed its production in August after the previous visit of the Ukrainian drones, which is another important argument. Russians cannot protect even those targets that were previously destroyed. It took them months and millions to rebuild them, and then on the second day of the production, they are destroyed again. This is a serious problem of their air defense. This is their negligence. This is their inability to defend Russia. All they can do is threaten you. All they can do is target, hospitals and schools. But that is not the way to win the war. It's painful, it's awful, it's violent, but let's be realistic. That is not a success strategy. And a strategy to keep destroying oil refineries that fuel the economy and thus Russian war machine, to create gasoline crisis that does not do harm to the Russian children, but demonstrates how weak Russia is, how close it is to the brink of collapse, same as the USSR. Before its collapse, they had war problems, exhausting war in Afghanistan, and problems with economy and falling oil prices. So whenever they have problems with prices, with products, with oil and exhausting wars, they collapse. Subscribe to witness that together. And another important strategy is, of course, to destroy their military arsenals, their training grounds, their military airfields, because that's the way to protect more Ukrainians from their nightly attacks. And I was happy to see the satellite images, which, by the way, Russians cannot hide. They become visible after some days or some weeks. And these satellite images confirm that the recent drone attack on Krasnodar training ground resulted in the destruction of Iskander missile systems, and Russia uses them to terrorize Ukraine, but more of their instruments of evil were destroyed. So altogether, when you watch people speaking on the UN Assembly meeting, I don't feel very confident. I'm not going to comment on Zelensky and Trump meeting because I know it won't give us anything. The task of Zelensky is to demonstrate respect and gratitude to the people of the United States, not to the man in the White House, and not to quarrel. But we all know 2 more weeks. Drones in Estonia, mistake. So we do not expect anything. But what we expect is the strength and bravery of Ukrainian people, of those countries that understand Russia is fighting not just against us, but against this world order, against the international law, against the Western world, as they describe us. They constantly provoke people, which is, from my perspective, not a provocation, but a constant escalation from the Kremlin. And time to defeat the evil, time to demilitarize Russia. And our strategy is very logical, I think. Once again, Russia keeps targeting hospitals, sleeping children, trying to demoralize us, but fails because Ukrainians are very different in mentality, in attitude, and once again, it proves their failing intelligence. And our strategy is very logical: to paralyze their war economy, to demilitarize facilities where they produce drones or missiles, and thus save people and destroy the war machine. Subscribe, share, and leave your comments to help YouTube algorithms and to make our community even larger and stronger. Also follow me on X, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, Discord, all the links to these social media platforms in the description of this video. Same as the link to our merch shop with lots of good t-shirts and sweatshirts that magically turn you into the ambassadors of Ukraine. And we need to remind the world about our fight and also the need to defeat the Kremlin. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel. Thank you for becoming friends in this 350,000 people community. And I know we have so many subscribers in different corners of the world, on Fiji, in Japan, in New Zealand, in Slovakia, in Chile and Brazil, in South Africa, in France, in the United States, in the United Kingdom. And please, if you feel like, leave your greetings, your messages from your location. Love you very much. Blessed to have you. Thank you for making me stronger. And I hope that these messages and this information also makes you more protected, because I know together we will win. We are stronger. We know way more than we knew back in 2022 when I started this channel. And now it's not a channel, it's a community, it's a family. You are friends. Thank you so much for being friends of mine and friends of Ukraine. Slava Ukraini!